Hello you guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to make a video on, I guess, just what it's like to begin dating somebody again or seeing somebody intimately after being cheated on, in my case, in my last two relationships, or just after going through any kind of betrayal of trust or anything that traumatized you, because I feel like I haven't seen personally a lot of videos on this kind of stuff, and I am now in a place where I am seeing somebody and have been for the last couple of months, and it's so crazy how you think that you can be ready to date somebody. I know that I thought that I was. Definitely, you can see that in one of the videos that I uploaded over, I think it was like last summer, where I was talking about casual dating. I think it's literally called casual dating, question mark, question mark. And towards the end, I'm pretty sure I was talking about how in my next relationship, you know, I wasn't going to settle, and I knew exactly what I wanted, and it was going to be so sweet and loving and happy. And I never really considered that I would be the one that needs to do the healing in order to make that work and happen and be realistic. And so you can imagine my surprise when I started seeing somebody and was all of a sudden being faced with so much and really having so much reflected back to me, and just really coming into so much awareness of how much healing there still was left to do, and really how traumatized I was left after being cheated on in my last relationship. Because obviously I knew that affected me, and I knew it was going to affect me, and I did a lot of healing for months, and I talked to friends and I processed through. Also, it was kind of an interesting situation. I did talk about it in more depth on my channel. It's a video of me with pink hair, and I think it was called something about being cheated on or something. And yeah, it was an interesting situation because I had ended things with him a couple of months before finding out about the cheating. So I'd already kind of been in the process of moving on and accepting that we weren't going to be together, although I carried a lot of guilt because I couldn't figure out if I was making the right decision, and I was just doubting myself a lot, and I felt really bad because he was very sad about the ending. Turns out he had been cheating on me and seeing somebody else for months and months and months and months. So it was a different situation where it wasn't like we were, you know, solidly together and then I found out. I'd already been trying to move on. And then I found that out, and it was a lot for me to process, and it was frustrating because I felt like I was already on this healing journey, and then that set me back, and I was like, fuck, I don't want to have to deal with the emotions of this, but I knew that I had to. So I obviously felt through it, but it felt like a little bit of a quicker process because there had already been some time in separation. So I thought that I was ready to start casually dating again soon after that. And then I quickly realized that I'm like such a lover girl, and I'm also really bad at being casual. Like I'm really like all or nothing, which is also something I'm super working on. Might have an OCD diagnosis in the near future, but I basically realized that for myself at the time I really couldn't be casually dating, right? So I stopped, and I was like, I'm just gonna fully focus on myself. And then eventually after that I ended up reconnecting with somebody that I'd already met prior, and ended up being romantic over time, and now we've been seeing each other for a couple of months. And God, I just, was not really prepared for how much of a process it was going to be for me to feel happy and secure and just, I guess, just feel good in a new dynamic. And so, I wanted to make a video about it because I've been doing a lot of like Reddit searching on like, how do you know when you're ready to be in a relationship after being cheated on? Or, you know, I've just been struggling a lot. It's been such a beautiful thing to get to know this person, and I'm so grateful for them, and I've had so much fun with them. It's been so nice, but at the same time, it's been draining in so many ways because I just, like I said, all of these insecurity issues. I've always been somebody that's really tried to work to view the world in a positive way. I've made a lot of videos about this too. I have a video called how I went from being a chronic sad girl to a vibrant glad girl. When I was much younger, I had a really negative lens of the world, and I've spent many years now, kind of after like a spiritual awakening, of trying to do this shadow work and, you know, get to the root of these like negative lenses and rewire a lot of them. And I've made a lot of progress. I really have changed my baseline to be a much more positive, optimistic, trusting, relaxed, happy, grateful, satisfied person. Truly, truly, truly. It's something that I put a lot of conscious effort into. And I've been feeling pretty good about that for, the last couple of years. I really felt like I'm decently secure and just trusting. And so to have somebody that I really trusted, and now it was my last 2 relationships in a row, it really like shook my worldview a lot. And so I think that I thought that I was prepared and that I would just feel secure again, because that's generally how I felt in relationships. And then I just started noticing like, wow, I'm viewing things through such an intense lens of insecurity. I'm like, oh my God, my mind was going to these crazy places, you guys, where I was just like visualizing the worst thing happening, and that this person was lying to me and going and seeing somebody else, like literally making up these elaborate stories in my head that felt really real. And so then I would have to deal with the emotions of that. And then I'd have to be like, girl, what the fuck? This is all in your head. Like, you're making this up. And granted, it's another complicated thing can be, I don't know, telling if it's your intuition, I guess, or telling if being able to decipher if somebody is maybe being distrustworthy or not being honest with you or being sneaky in some way, and because it's valid because they're actually doing things, or if it's just coming from your trauma. But this was very clearly coming from my trauma. This person did nothing, never lied to me. This is a very, very honest person that I actually like really, really do trust. And so it's just been crazy just viewing things through this lens of insecurity. I also just feel like I don't know, I've just been reacting really disproportionately to things. Like small things that really should be something that I can easily get over have been affecting me way more than I should. I literally have felt like a wounded rescue dog lately, you guys, like really bad. Like when we adopted our dog Lucy, they found her on the streets of California, and she hated men. She did not like being around men. She was super on edge, like barky, bitey. But then when she got comfortable around you and she knew she was safe, she was like the sweetest girl ever. But I just feel like I've been so on edge just because of this trauma, and I just really did not realize how much it was going to affect me. And so I've just been dealing with this, just I guess coming to terms with that, and then also just like doing the work to really heal and not project my trauma onto this person, because nobody deserves to have, trauma projected on them. I know that I dealt with that in my last relationship because that partner of mine had been cheated on in his prior relationship to us getting together. So he dealt with a lot of insecurity issues, and I tried to be really empathetic to it, but after a while it was draining. So I was like, dude, I didn't do this to you. I wanted to shake him and be like, you're safe. Like, I'm here with you. I would never lie to you. I would never cheat on you. Like, you just need to relax, because now you're sabotaging this whole relationship. We could actually be enjoying our time together. Like, I would literally do a nice thing for him, and he would get so in his head with these elaborate stories, thinking, the opposite, that it would ruin our time. And I'm like, wow, if you were actually just present, you would realize that, like, I like you so much. I love you so much. I'm here for you. I'm here with you. And I would never do something like that. And I just feel like it's really interesting how the universe really likes to show you both sides of the coin. I feel like that's one thing the universe will always do, is just really humble you and give you a better understanding. And it's not to say that I wasn't empathetic. I was, but at a certain point it did get really, really draining, because it just felt like it wasn't being worked on by my ex. There was a lot of talk of him being like, yes, I really want to go to therapy. I want to work on these things. I don't want to come off as jealous or insecure. But I felt like I wasn't actually seeing these tangible changes. And ultimately that led to us breaking up. So that's been a really big fear of mine now, with seeing somebody that I really care about and I'm really excited about and I like a lot, where I'm like, dang, it would actually be so valid for this person to end things with me because they're frustrated. And luckily he's been very patient and very kind, but it's also not fair to anybody for you to project, your trauma just because it feels so real to you. And, those feelings are really valid. Like, it's awful what happened. It's really, really awful, but it's always, always, always our responsibility to do the healing. And so I've just been, dealing with all of this and literally looking up on Reddit, like, how do I trust again after being cheated on? Or how do I be normal in a relationship? Or is it possible for me to do this healing work while in a relationship? And I've really come to the conclusion that I think that that's like a really personal decision. And there's been so much coming up that it's felt like I've been doing a lot of self-work, and it's been really hard. It's been so interesting because it's been so beautiful and so fun, but also just like, God, it's just been like really, really, really hard mentally, like really exhausting and frustrating too, because it's like I said, I'm somebody that normally views the world in this very positive and confident and secure way. And so it's just so frustrating when it's like, I feel like I keep repeating this same pattern of viewing things from this lens that doesn't even feel true to me. And it's just like, I'm like, why can't I just be how I was before? It literally feels like that fucking meme where it's like, I'm gonna break this pattern, and then it's like me 20 minutes later, like, damn, that shit was deeply rooted in my subconscious. Like, I think that these betrayals can change us, but I also don't think that that's fixed. I think that that's something that can be healed. Truly, truly, truly. I really believe that healing is possible for basically anything. It just takes time and effort. So I've really been having to prioritize, like, going through my day slowly, reminding myself, like, I am safe. Like, these people around you are not out to get you. I really think it comes down to also just, like, deciding, like, I am going to trust this person. It really comes down to making a conscious choice of being like, I know that I went through all of this trauma in the past, and I know that this person made me feel really fucking stupid for fully trusting them and believing them, and I don't want to ever feel that way again. And it's so hard because it's like, your ego creates all of these defense mechanisms to protect you. And I think it's very important to take things away from betrayals like that. Like, I feel like I have a heightened sense of discernment. I know certain things to look out for. There were certain red flags. And I think it's good to have better boundaries of what you're willing to accept or not willing to accept. Like, I think that I've learned a lot from that dynamic, but I also don't want to let it make me become this person that, like, doesn't trust people or that can't be in a romantic relationship again, because you guys, I'm such a lover girl. Like, I don't ever want to feel defined by another person's actions and, like, lack of consideration and their own trauma. I don't ever, ever, ever want that to affect me. And I've always, like, stood on that hill, and I've talked about that so much, like, especially after I found out about him cheating, is that, like, I won't let this, like, ruin me. I'm still gonna be a sweet lover girl. I just don't think I was anticipating how much it really was going to affect me when I got into my next relationship, and how much it really, like, damaged me in certain ways. But I also do not want to become a victim. I've worked really hard to try to not have a victim mindset and not internalize this person's actions, because my ex, having his issues where he can't be alone and he feels deeply insecure because he got cheated on, so he just went and repeated the pattern, has nothing to do with me. It really has nothing to do with me. So I really think it's important to just, like, heal and validate those feelings, but not, fall into this victim mindset. And also have grace and understanding that the healing process actually might take longer than you were anticipating, and that you might think that you're healed until you get in a relationship, because it's so easy to think that you've grown past something when you're not reminded of it, and when you're just, like, not having to deal with other people's emotions or other people's actions. But then you start interacting with somebody intimately and things start to trigger you, and it's not that they're necessarily doing anything wrong, but it's just from your own trauma or the way that you're perceiving something. Or, we're all human and we do make mistakes, okay? But it's like, I don't know. It's just so interesting. And I think that we just have to understand also that the healing process is really not linear, because I'm growing so much from this. And I get so frustrated, like I say, when it feels like, okay, I feel like I'm healing and I'm perceiving things through this true lens, and I feel good about the way that I'm showing up and good about the way that I'm treating this person. And then maybe they make a small mistake and it triggers the fuck out of me, and I respond a little bit more intensely than I should. I get very frustrated, and I felt a lot of shame over the last couple of months, because it's just like, it's affected every area of my life where I felt deeply, like, just insecure about myself and not confident. Like, I've now felt that, like, around friends or even in my work environment, where people are actually being really kind to me, but I'm perceiving everything through this negative lens, because one, I was cheated on and I feel insecure, from the trauma that's caused. But also now, as I'm healing, I'm not perfect and it's not entirely linear. So when I mess up, I just feel this, like, the shame of, like, God, girl, why can't you just get it together? Like, why isn't this, like, going as smoothly as I want? Like, why do I keep fucking up? Why do I keep perceiving things through this negative lens? So I really have to, like, I don't know, I guess just give myself grace and really understand that, like, ultimately, like, right now, I am so lovable just the way that I am, and that I really am more than enough just for existing. Like, I really want you to know that too. If you're also struggling and feeling not great about yourself, that like, you're so lovable and you are so worthy of love. Just because, you know, you're not showing up in the perfect way or exactly how you would want to does not mean that you aren't deserving of love. You are. Like, you're so okay. You're so okay. It's okay. We all learn things at our own pace. We're all on these big journeys of evolution. And I really feel like a lot of it is already somewhat pre-planned, or it's like we're meant to kind of learn these lessons, as painful as they are. Like, it's okay. So I just want you to know that, like, no matter what, like, we should not be feeling this deep shame. It's frustrating. It's frustrating because it's like, I don't even want to be experiencing this. And I feel like this person put me in this position to have to now be dealing with this. And now I'm like sabotaging a relationship that actually feels really healthy and exciting. And it's frustrating. It's really frustrating. But ultimately, I feel like what makes me feel better is just trying to accept that we're all just like catalysts for each other's learning and growing and healing journeys, and that ultimately, like, I don't know, I'm becoming a better version of myself for it, and that none of it's personal either. My ex wasn't trying to traumatize me, just like I don't think his ex that cheated on him was trying to traumatize him. I think that a lot of us are just very traumatized and repeat that pattern, and I don't want to repeat that pattern, and I don't want to subject the person I'm seeing to having to deal with like a wound that somebody else created. That's not his job. That's not the other person's job. I think that somebody can be sensitive to your wounds, but it's not their responsibility. Ultimately, it's our healing journey. And we were never guaranteed that things weren't going to be hard, okay? It's like, we're human beings. We're going to have to go through a lot of hard shit, and we're going to just have to find peace with it. Whether that means forgiving somebody. I've really worked hard to forgive my ex, but I don't know. For some people, I think it's unfair to tell them to forgive somebody. I think ultimately it's for you, for your own healing, but whatever you need to do to just make peace with something, I guess. And just for your own sake of feeling better and feeling empowered in your life and wanting to be happy and do better. But I also will say that, like, even though you should absolutely give yourself grace and love, unconditional love, no matter what, somebody may decide that they don't want to be with you because they don't want to have to deal with this baggage or things being projected onto them. And I think that's entirely fair. Honestly, when I was in my last relationship and my ex was just so insecure constantly, it ultimately led to us breaking up, because after a while, it was too draining for me. It was too draining. And so I really think that's just up to you and your partner and what their capacity is. Or what your capacity is. I think it's different for everybody, and it depends on what phase of life you're in, maybe, or, you know, I totally understand if this person has already worked through something like this and they're like, well, I feel like I've already moved past this. I don't really want to have to deal with it anymore. I think that's valid. I think that's actually really, really valid. So I don't think that you can really blame somebody else for not wanting to be with you if you're really struggling. But I think that that's okay. And I think that that's something we have to make peace with. And trust me, I felt really sad at times where I've been like, fuck, I feel like I'm fucking up. And I feel like I would totally understand if this person ended things with me, but I'd be really, really sad about it. And in those moments, I just have to trust in a bigger picture and just know that, like, I am trying my best to heal. And ultimately, I am learning and growing. And that's like the most important thing, you know, is that I'm pouring into myself and I'm trying. And it might not be fast enough for this person. It might not be, you know, good enough, I guess, for this person, and that's okay. And I know it's so hard to let somebody go that you were really excited about or that you love so deeply and you care about so deeply. I get it. It's one of the hardest things, I think, in the world. But I think for our own sake, we just have to have a level of detachment and just, like, I don't know, ultimately I just really have to trust and just tell myself that's what's meant for me won't miss me. And that, like, I don't know, there's been people in my life in the past that I've been so sad about when things ended, and ultimately I, like, really understood later, like, why it had to happen. So I think that's just something that we have to make peace with. And even though I say what's meant for me won't miss me, I absolutely do think that we can sabotage dynamics, and it sucks. It sucks. Now me being the one that's, like, sabotaging, it fucking sucks. Especially when it's like, it's somebody I want to be with. So I'm like, why the fuck are you doing this? And it's not a conscious thing. It's like just this like subconscious, like, trauma that has to be healed. So just know ultimately, at least, that, like, you're not alone in this. That made me feel really reassured when I was looking on Reddit. I'm like, God, at least I'm not the only one experiencing this. And not that I want anybody else to, but it's like, dang, we're all just, like, learning and growing. And it's hard. It's really hard. I've had a lot of hard days. So just at least don't feel alone in this. You're not. And I know how frustrating the process is. I guess I just wanted to make this video to let you know that you're not alone and to maybe just offer a little bit of insight. Like I said, I ultimately think it comes down to like just deciding like I'm just going to trust this person. Like, I know it's so hard and it's so scary, but if you want to be with somebody, you can't be in that in between forever. And I feel like, why deprive yourself? Like, romance and love is such a beautiful aspect of this world. I just think it's so sad that it can be like ruined or tainted by somebody else's actions when they probably weren't even thinking straight and it had nothing to do with us. So I refuse to live that way. I'm at least going to try and be open-hearted and try. And if it doesn't work out, that's okay. But at least I'm like putting myself out there again and being open-hearted again. I feel proud of myself for that. But I really think for me, when I reflect back on like, how did I even make this work at all? It's like I had to decide like, I'm just going to trust this person. When I'm having these like thoughts of like, but what if they're lying? And what if they're doing this? I'm like, nope, I decided to trust this person. And if they end up doing something to me and making me, you know, betraying me, like that's truly a reflection on them. I refuse to internalize that. If that happened again, you guys, I'd be pretty fucked up because twice in a row is already more than enough, okay? I don't need it to happen any more times at all. But if it were to, I would just have to walk away knowing that I was brave, I was vulnerable, I put myself out there, and I trusted you. And this is your fault. And you did something stupid. And that sucks, okay? But for you. That sucks for you, not for me. So I think it's just like an acceptance of the fact that you can't control things. And that like, you don't exactly know what's gonna happen. But I'm consciously deciding that I'm just gonna try. Because what's life if you don't try, you guys? I would rather try and get my heart broken time and time again. Unfortunately, I would then deprive myself and just be scared and not open myself up to things, I guess. I don't know. I just think that life is meant to be lived and it's just, it's not life if we're just like hiding away in our houses, in our rooms and like not being vulnerable. It's so scary. I understand it's so scary. And definitely take your time too. I'm not saying like you should do this immediately afterwards. Have your healing process. It may take years for you to feel comfortable after being betrayed or, you know, just anything happening to you that traumatized you. I know it's hard. I'm not trying to rush your process at all. And ultimately, if you don't want to open yourself up to love again, I get it. I get it. There are things that can happen that are so incredibly traumatizing. I just think that we're all worthy and deserving of love that feels good. And love, ultimately, when it's real, should feel good for the most part. It should feel supportive. It should feel gentle. It should feel warm. It should add to your life. And I just think that we're all worthy of that. And of course, you can find that in friendships. And of course, you can experience that on your own as well. But I'm just saying, if you want to be in a relationship, I just think that it's so unfair that somebody else can taint that for you, and that ultimately like we deserve to just try and put ourselves out there. So if that's what you want, I feel like even though it's scary and you might be scared to look stupid, like ultimately I think you should just go for it and just try to surrender. Like I've just been trying to like accept that there's so much that's out of my control, and all I can do is control myself, my reactions, my responses, and you know, that's ultimately all you can do. And then just also really important to remember that the healing journey is not linear, to not get so frustrated, to just try to get back on the horse. If you fuck up, don't waste time sulking, feeling sorry for yourself. Like, just keep it trucking, get back on, do better. I've also learned in this process something really, really, really major that this person that I've been seeing has taught me, is that taking accountability and apologizing can go a really, 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 really long way. I am somebody who has really struggled with that, honestly. I think that because I'm an eldest daughter and I have a Capricorn moon, okay, I grew up with parents where, at least with my dad, I was very scared to upset him, and he would have really big reactions when I was younger. And so I feel like if anything, I've tried to get out of accountability. I try to distract. I try to just be like, oh, it wasn't that bad, because I'm so scared that I'm going to get in so much trouble if I really admit like, oh, I'm not perfect. This has been, guys, I've come into so much awareness of so many things. I feel like I have grown leaps and bounds in the past couple of months, and I've been wanting to wait to like talk on it because I've wanted to feel more secure in it and more like I'm walking the walk. But the truth is, guys, it's a never-ending journey, okay? So I just want to share where I'm at right now. I can at least say that I've come into a lot of awareness of things, and I'm really trying to integrate things, but I'm definitely still in the process. But I've come into so much awareness of myself through this reflection of this person. Like, I have never learned this much about myself in any other relationship I've ever had in my entire life. But something that I've realized is that I really avoid accountability because I'm scared to bring attention to something I did wrong, because I feel like that's going to make it worse. When in reality, I've actually really come to learn that it goes such a long way to just be like, hey, I know I messed up and I'm really sorry. Okay? Because even when you try to skate around it or hide, they see it. So it's like, you're not really hiding. Like, it's like, why are you doing that? So I really have to be like, Emily, why are you doing that? And I understand why. It roots in childhood or people having overreactions to things, but it's not okay. And it really, really helps to just be like, fuck, you know what? I had this reaction again. That's not fair. I'm really sorry. I'm working on it. I'm going to do better. Granted, if you keep saying that and there aren't improvements, like I said, that person might not want to be with you anymore. And that's okay. And I don't think you should get discouraged. I think you should just keep going for yourself. And ultimately, you will get in a relationship again one day, and you'll be better for all that healing and growing that you did, you know? But I just think we should try to do right by people as much as we can. And also be honest with yourself. If you feel like you cannot handle being in a relationship, then don't be in one. I really had to take some time to myself and be like, dang, with everything else I have going on in my life, with working and trying to like build my career and hang out with friends and work on my mental health and exercise, like, can I balance a relationship when I feel like I have so much healing work ahead of me? It's not feeling easy right now. It's feeling like this is something I really have to prioritize. Like, do I have the capacity to do that? I think that, like, of course I want to take advantage of this opportunity to heal, and I really like this person, like, a lot. I really, really like him specifically, so I want to be with him and I want to make it work. And it's like, I also know that if I were to end things, or we were to end things, this is just going to come up again in my next relationship. So it's like, I really am like, this is a good opportunity where I really like you a lot, and like, you're holding space for me in ways that feel, you know, it's very helpful. It's very sweet. So I feel like I can work on this stuff, you know? But I also think it's valid to be like, I'm just not in the place to be able to handle this right now. Like, I don't have time for it. I don't have the emotional capacity. Like, sure, I'm going to have to deal with this later on, but I'd rather deal with it later on. I think that's super fair. I really had to sit with myself and be honest and be like, can I handle being in a relationship right now? Like, this is a lot. Am I ready to be committed to this? Do I have the emotional bandwidth to be committed to this right now? And ultimately I decided, like, I want to try. I want to try because I really like this boy, and because I don't know, that's just what I'm feeling. So I'm out here really trying, but it's a lot. So I think just try to be honest with yourself and just accept that whatever outcome comes to be, you will be okay. Okay? You're so loved. You're so supported. I think that things have a way of working out the way that they're supposed to. I really, really, really do. Even if it doesn't make sense in the moment, anytime I've ever been really sad about something, I've come to have deeper understanding for it later. Even if it still bums me out, it's like I've been able to make peace with things for the most part. So I just feel like trying to have trust and just trying to know that at least you were trying and working on yourself, you know? So yeah, I think that those are the main points that I wanted to say. I just wanted to talk openly about this because I just feel like I haven't seen a lot of videos on it. And like I said, I've just felt really alone in it, and it's been really, really, really difficult for me. So hopefully I can make any of you guys feel less alone. I'm also so open to anybody else's insight of any tips that they have. I'm also starting therapy very, very soon, which in itself was like a fucking bitch to even get because my insurance was difficult and I don't even know for sure if they're going to cover it. So I'm gonna see. I know that's a lot easier said than done, but I'm really trying. And then there's other things that you can do too, obviously, just like journaling or really sitting with yourself, spending time alone to get to the root of why you're behaving certain ways. And I really think it just takes going slowly throughout the day and just trying to stay calm and keep a calm nervous system so you can be aware of your reactions and you can like bring yourself back down to earth. I feel so validated in my anger sometimes or my strong emotions, but they're not informed by like actual reality in the moment. So I really have to like bring myself back down and be like, okay, I understand this hurt is valid, your feelings are valid, but this is not even what's happening right now. So really being able to stay like clear and rational, which like meditating helps me to do that. Getting good sleep helps me to do that. You know, things like that. Talking to friends helps me a lot to see things clearly and just have them be really real with me and have them validate, you know, my hurt, but be like, yeah, maybe you are, you know, being a little irrational, or maybe you are, this is a little unfair for you to respond this way. So yeah, you guys, it's a journey, okay? But we're out here and we're trying, and I think that's something that we should really be proud of. And for not continuing the cycle of abuse, like that rocks on our part. Good for us. I hope I'm not forgetting anything I wanted to say. I wrote so much about what I wanted to say because I feel like this is such a layered thing, and I meant to say it in a way that was maybe more linear, and I feel like I was just spitting out a lot of different things at once, but hopefully you were able to take something away from it or understand, or something resonated with you. And I'm going to try to not beat myself up if I look back at my notes and realize that I forgot to say certain main points. But anyways, you guys, I love you so much. Please just give yourself a hug and know that you're worthy no matter what, of so much love. Truly, truly, truly of so much love. Do not be hard on yourself. Please don't be hard on yourself. And if you feel like it's just too much and affecting your mental health too much, then maybe reevaluate, you know, if it's healthy for you to be in this relationship right now, because you shouldn't feel horrible about yourself. In a relationship, you should feel equal, and you should feel loved and valued, and not like you're just constantly fucking up. You know what I mean? So just make sure that your dynamic feels good, feels healthy while you're learning and growing. I mean, none of us are ever fully healed. We all have our issues, and none of us are perfect. So, you know, just make sure that you know that, your partner knows that, and that you can both hold space for each other to learn and grow, so long as it feels healthy, so long as it feels like you guys are both putting in the mutual effort and being fair to each other. You know what I mean? Nobody's going to be perfect, and the healing process is not linear, but ultimately, like, we get better as we go. You know, just don't get discouraged when you mess up. But yeah, you guys, the sun is coming down. I'm going to end this here. I love you so much. I'm here with you, and I know that it's so possible for us to get to places where we feel so secure and confident and healthy and happy, and that we can really make real, tangible change. It just takes a lot of effort sometimes, and like continual effort, and maybe prioritizing a little bit. But it is absolutely possible, so don't get discouraged. But anyways, okay, I love you guys so much. Many more videos to come. Like I said, I'm so open to any inputs that you guys have. So if you guys have any tips or want to share anything about your personal stories with me, I would love that so much. But I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. I love you. Okay, bye.